Story time. And this story is the perfect example of why it's so important to leave at the first red flag. So I had been dating this guy for a couple months, maybe like 3 or 4 months. Everything was going well. So he would take me out to a new restaurant damn near every day. So on this day, he takes me to a Polish restaurant, and it's a Polish holiday. We get seated, our food comes, and then he points out a lady coming in the door and tells me that's his ex-wife. Now, he had been divorced about 2 years at this point. And on our first date, I did ask what happened, and he was kind of vague about it. So I figured, well, we're just meeting, so maybe he just doesn't want to get into detail about it. Then I noticed her date, and I'm like, oh, her date is a little handsome Italian young man. He gets on stank. That's not her date. That's her nephew. And they're Polish. He's not Italian. Strike motherfucking one. So you knew she would be here. She's Polish. This is a Polish restaurant on a Polish holiday. So you brought me here. I didn't say this to him, but just this is what I'm thinking. So you brought me here hoping she would be here so that she could see you with me. I don't like that shit. So I'm like, well, why did y'all divorce again? What happened again? What had happened?
Nothing happened. We had a great life. We had a great marriage. At least I thought we did. But I came home from work. She was gone. The girls were gone. All their stuff was gone. The next day, I'm served with divorce papers at my company in front of all my employees. All communication has been through attorneys ever since. And I find out during the divorce that she put down $135,000 on a new home that she was only able to save up because I paid all the bills. The only thing she paid for was like little girly maintenance stuff for herself and her daughters. But I paid all the bills, even her car note, their cell phone bills, everything. And she worked. She made $70,000 a year. And she was saving her money so that she could leave me.
The more he talked, the more it sounded like that woman escaped him, like a DV survivor escapes. What absolutely fucking did it was when he said, never again will I let a woman save up all her money so she can leave me while I pay all the bills. That's what he learned from losing his wife, to financially abuse the next one so she can't afford to leave.
Oh, you're done. And you're blocked.
So that was the last time he saw me. Fast forward about 8 months. This older white lady leaves a comment on one of my pictures on Facebook and says, check your messages, it's very important. So we're not Facebook friends, so I check my spam, I find the message, and she's basically just saying, like, I come in peace, not looking for any drama. I just wanted to compare stories and see if you experienced any of the things that I'm experiencing with him right now. So I'm like, sure, I'm open to talking. She starts letting it all out. So she's like, I really don't have anybody to talk to about this. I hate to, burden you with all this mess, but I need to talk to somebody. So she says when she first met him, she was in the middle of, or at the end of a foreclosure process and losing her house. So she said she had been praying and praying and praying. And when she met him and she told him about it, he was like, oh, don't worry. You could just live with me. Say he got movers and everything, move all her stuff and just, being Prince Charming and whatnot. And she said she thought God had answered her prayer with him by sending him to help her. So she loses her house, moves in with him. And shortly after that, her car breaks down. I think he did something to it, but whatever. She couldn't get to work. She loses her job. No, he does not live on a bus route. You have to have a car to live with him for sure. So she says right around then, he starts abusing her and like straight up starving her. She said he bought another refrigerator, put it in the garage, and moved everything from the kitchen refrigerator into that refrigerator. Then put a lock on the garage door that he could lock with a key so that she can't get in and out of the garage. She said he took all the food out of the pantry, which was always stocked. And he moved all of that into the garage too. I'm like, girl, I need to see a picture of this shit. Like, she sent me this picture right here. I gave her my number. I responded with my phone number. Cause girl, what the fuck? Call me right now. Call me right fucking now. It must have been a little after 6 because I remember saying, okay, so you about to eat again now since he's off. He should be on his way back now. And she was like, well, he might not. Like sometimes he goes on a date after work and then he may come back at like 10 at night, after the restaurant closes. And then sometimes he may not come back until like 1 or 2 a.m. I'm like, a date? What? Huh? He goes on a date. She's like, yeah, he's like dating women from dating sites and he rubs it in my face. I'm like, girl, he fucking lying. Don't nobody want him. His ass is sitting in his parked car somewhere around the fucking corner. Why she say, no, he's telling the truth. He sends pictures every date. And it's usually a different girl. Sometimes the same girl. I think this one girl, he's starting to really like her. I'm starting to see her a lot. And then I think back to the picture he had the waiter take of us at our first date. But I'm fucking madder than her because this bitch got you up in this fucking house starving. So I'm like, you want pizza or Chinese food? I'm sending you some food. It's like, no, you don't have to. You don't have to. I know, but I'm doing it. I'm sending you some fucking food because you have gone over 12 hours without eating and you don't know when this motherfucker coming home. any leftover pizza, put it in a Ziploc bag and bury that shit in the snow so you can have it tomorrow. Had all the pizza box paraphernalia, rip up the box, put it in the neighbor's trash can so this motherfucker don't think you had a man bringing you food to his house. She said he kicked her out of the master bedroom, put her in a guest room, and took the mattress out. Got her sleeping on the fucking box spring. And only allows her in the master bedroom when he wants. And then after that, she has to go back to the box spring. This man owned a business with 6 different locations. He was practically begging me to work for him. But I don't fucking work. I don't do that. He had positions available for me who did not want to work, but had a woman who was willing and wanted to work, and he couldn't give her a position. He meant what the fuck he said on that date. He was going to make sure his next woman could not afford to fucking leave him. He drove a Mazda every day, but he had a Porsche and an Aston Martin in his garage. Now, of course, I wouldn't even suggest she asked to drive either of those because he rarely drove them. He could have got her a fucking Hyundai, a Kia, a point A to point B car. Him just watching her struggle. She loses her job, loses her car, loses her home. She loses everything. And he just like, oh, you'll be all right. You can continue living in my house. You don't need a car. So we continued talking for the next couple of weeks. I kept sending food. And while talking to her, I realized, and I told her, he probably knew about your foreclosure before your first date. Because I'm just now realizing what the first red flag actually was. And it was on our first or second date. Somehow the topic of bankruptcy came up, and I made an incorrect assumption about something. And instead of him just saying, no, that's not how bankruptcy works, he was like, you don't know anything about bankruptcy. You've never even filed. And I'm like, how do you know? And he's like, well, I look into anybody before I go on a date with them, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, but for like safety reasons. Like, I'm looking at criminal dockets, not civil. Like, why were you in my civil docket? He was in my civil docket because he was hoping to find a woman who was going through foreclosure, eviction, bankruptcy, a woman having financial problems who he could financially abuse. When women are looking into a date, it's for safety reasons. But when men are doing it, they're gathering intel so they can strategize on how to conquer and dominate that woman. I said, I believe he knew that you were going through foreclosure already from the get-go. He told me on our last date that he would never again let another woman save up enough money to leave his ass. So I didn't think I needed to tell her not to tell him, but I guess I did. So they got into an argument, and he was trying to convince her that she's the only woman he's had these types of problems with. That she's the problem, that he could get back with any of his exes if he wanted to, and everybody knows he's such a great guy and all this bullshit. Unfortunately, she did not make it out safely. She instead married him, but she's still alive. Back to the story. So when he was telling her that she was the problem, he hasn't had these problems with any other woman. She went ahead and mentioned that she had been talking to me and that she realized that she was not the problem. It was him, that I believed her. I thought he was dangerous and I saw the red flags, and that she wishes she had seen it too. She even mentioned that I told her how he probably knew about her foreclosure and told him, she felt like he trapped her from the get-go. Her phone bill was due, so of course he did not pay the bill. It got turned off. She was able to use Wi-Fi though, so she messaged me on Facebook to let me know what happened and to tell me to be careful, talking about he was making threats about what he's going to do to me. I'm like, girl, please, he doesn't even know where I live, so he can't. I was always at his house. Plus, he's clearly the type of abuser who's only a threat to the woman in his house, in his bed, but not to anybody else. So she said he put up cameras because he was convinced that I was trying to come over or something, but she didn't mention that I was sending food. All communication pretty much ceased after that, and I would occasionally check her social media just to see if she was still alive. And about a year later or so, I checked, and her last name was changed, and her profile picture was of their wedding. I was absolutely flabbergasted. They look so happy together in all their pictures. It's insane. And she found me because he showed her my pictures on social media. I'm 15 years younger than them, so he's telling her, oh, my ex is much younger and hotter than you. You should be grateful to be with me. I'm settling for you. I could do so much better. This is what I'm used to. You're old. And she remembered my name. But you can tell from my public Facebook post that I'm safe to message. You can tell that I'm a girl's girl. So I think that's what made her feel comfortable enough to message me. And for the people asking why she didn't leave, well, she didn't want to go to a homeless shelter, and she didn't want to tell her family and friends about him because she had bragged about him so much. She said I was the only person she had told about him. For some reason, she just could not admit to them that she was wrong about him and she needed somewhere to stay. She had 5 kids. They all look like adults, so they would be old enough to understand. She was just embarrassed as fuck. I mean, I would have been embarrassed too, but I still would have got the fuck up out of there. And this happened in like 2016, 17, and they are still together if I'm going off their social media profile pictures. The trap